We are live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey guys. We are back. We are live. We're here for some WNBA talk. My name is Jason J. Daniel. This is the Jason J. Daniel Show. I'm so excited to talk about the WNBA. We're back, man. I say we're like I'm on the team. Some of you think you're on the team the way you talk. Guys, my name is Jason. I'm doing a podcast series for WNBA, especially Caitlin Clark and the Fever. I'm a Fever fan, if you can't tell. And so tonight, we're going to give you a Caitlin Clark and Fever season preview. Thanks for watching. Again, my name is Jason J. Daniel. This is the Jason J. Daniel Show. So I just want to say welcome to Caitlin Talk. Caitlin Clark and the Fever, man. I'm going to break down every Fever game this year. I'm going to do my best. It's going to be around 40 games, something like that. It's going to be daunting, but I'm committed to it. I thought I would do a season preview for the WNBA, but specifically for Caitlin Clark and the Fever. Let's be honest, no one cares about anything related to the WNBA except Caitlin Clark and the Fever. I'm going to do a quick sound check here, guys, because I'm solo, man. I'm on my own. I don't have a producer. One of these days, I might. Let's see here. Cool. All right, I got my sound check going. Thanks, guys. We're going to check Facebook. We're live. Just so you know, we're live on Facebook. We're live on Rumble. We are live on Twitch for the first time tonight, which is cool. We're live on YouTube. We're live on X. So if you're watching me right now, you're on one of those platforms. I want to say thank you. I'm going to take this off. I just thought I'd try to be cool. Clearly it didn't work. So pardon me for the housekeeping. I'm going to try to see if this is working here. Let's see here. Got to go to the old Facebook machine. Give me a second here. Make sure that is, we're going to switch to Facebook. Got to do that right here. Sorry, guys. Okay, cool. So while we're talking right now, let's switch it to public. Okay, cool. Thanks for bearing with me. So if you're watching this for the first time, I do a podcast on a regular basis. I do interviews. I do all sorts of stuff, politics, human behavior, true crime. I interview my friends that are very interesting. I got a lot of interesting friends. And I also do TV and movie reviews. So right now I'm doing Last of Us. You can see that every Sunday after the show airs, I go live and do a breakdown. Now you can see all of my shows in my archive on YouTube and Rumble and on X. But X is a little tougher because there's not quite an archive like you would have on YouTube and Rumble. So you can go to my highlights on X and you can see all of my shows. I put them in the highlights tab. So a couple of things, a little bit of housekeeping. First of all, again, my name is Jason J. Daniel. Thanks for watching. There's my handles, my tags right there. If you want to check that out, you can find me anywhere at Jason J. Daniel. I'm going to do a series. Obviously, I just mentioned it earlier. I'm now going to add a series to my podcast shows, which is Fever Games. So after every Caitlin Clark and Fever game, check out my feed and I'll give you a breakdown and a reaction. Now, I'm going to do my best to break down the games after, as soon as they're done, if I can, depending on my schedule. If not, I'll do it later on that day. In some cases, maybe the next day, but most, let's just say 50% of the games, you'll be able to get my thoughts right away. Also, if you follow me on X and TikTok, I'll be giving you my thoughts as well. Now, since I mentioned that, please follow and sub. I really appreciate that. I'm on TikTok as Real Jason J. Daniel. Now, my TikTok has almost 8,000 followers. Thanks, you guys. I am not live on TikTok yet for the podcast, but I'm working on it. We do go live on TikTok. I do football. I do WNBA talk and a lot of other sports, boxing, MMA. It's all about 4 sports. We'll just put it to you that way. I do sarcastic, informational TikToks. I might make you mad if I start roasting your favorite team. I like to do roasting. That's who I am. So there you go. Hopefully the intro is helpful to you. So let me just clarify some things here on this podcast. Let me get a little drink here. It's my energy drink. I'm about to go to the gym after this. Here we go. I'm working on theme songs and stuff, like not like like a theme song like Batman or something like a superhero, but I'm working on theme songs for hold on. Okay, testing my sound. Sorry, getting a little distracted here because I have to keep the apps going on the other side. So I'm going to the gym after this, but let me clarify a couple things. Let me lay some things down for you. What to expect from this podcast series. I'm going to talk about the WNBA, but I'm not going to talk about the entire WNBA because, frankly, I don't care about any other team. And probably you don't either. Let's be honest. Most people didn't know anything about the WNBA, didn't even realize it existed until Caitlin Clark showed up on the scene. Now, if you're a college basketball fan like I am, if you watch women's basketball, men's basketball, I like to watch women's more than men, only because I really feel like it's a little more pure. The ladies are super competitive, and great talent's coming out of there. Now, I started watching women's basketball 2 years ago when Caitlin Clark started to heat up, of course. I was doing TikToks and social media on Caitlin when no one else was. Now, I'm assuming other people were. But before it became mainstream, before she blew up in the Final Four in her senior season, I was paying attention to Caitlin Clark. So I knew that she was going to be this big. I did, because I've watched basketball for a long time. I'm a basketball fan. I know basketball really well. I played the game. I know sports really well. Let's just be honest, 20 years of following sports and commentating on sports. I know sports really well. And when I watched her, I was like, this is the future, man. She is another level that no one has ever seen. She could honestly compete in, I believe, in the NBA. Honestly, I think she's such head and shoulders above any of the players in the WNBA that the WNBA Illuminati, that's what I call them, had to do their best to really cripple her season, make it very hard on her, humiliate her not adding her to the Olympic games, do their best to have referees go after her, call fake fouls. They encouraged violence against her, let's be honest. They encouraged nastiness and assault against Caitlin Clark on the court. Look, I'm going to say it, and I know some of you that might be watching this and don't agree with me, you owe it whenever fans like me and people like me that are educated, completely educated on the game, when I do a TikTok, or when I point out that the things that were happening to Caitlin were actual assault, not sportsmanlike, criminal behavior on the court. When I was pointing that out, me and a lot of others, then it became viral and mainstream. We're being called certain things. We're being called really nasty things. And we were being told that our motivations were not sportsmanship motivations. And it has nothing to do with anything other than we want to watch good basketball and we don't want the fucking star of the game to be hurt. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants Caitlin Clark hurt except the WNBA. It felt like last year. But we're all over that. So I guess I'm kind of getting off my subject here, but I want you to know what to expect from this podcast. So expect that I'm not going to talk about any other team in depth. I know the teams, but they're really not that interesting. Half of the teams are going to be really bad this year. So I'm going to talk about the teams that Caitlin Clark and the Fever face, which they're going to play most of the teams, but they're mostly going to play in their conference, in the Eastern Conference. I'll show you the conferences and break that down. So that's one thing to expect. The other thing to expect is that I'm a homer for the Fever. So this is a Fever show. I just want you to know it's a Fever show. I'm a huge Caitlin Clark fan. If you look at my TikTok, I probably did 150 TikToks last year about Caitlin Clark and the Fever. Probably. I don't think that's an exaggeration. Maybe almost 100. I'm a huge fan. But my TikToks were breaking down the game. I'll break the game down for you and get right into the I guess the nitty gritty of it. So in this season preview, a couple of we're going to do a season preview here. A season preview for the Fever, and maybe I'll talk about the other teams a little bit too. But keep in mind that I want you to know that this show is for adults and grown-ups, mature people only. Now, basketball newbies, that covers everybody. Everybody can be a basketball newbie. A lot of you are. Let's be honest. I see the commentary. I see what's being written online. I interact with Caitlin Clark fans all the time, and I'll just say this: a quarter of you are very basketball educated, and that's not a put down. It's just the way it is because you weren't watching it. You will understand the fundamentals, but kind of not really. And the rest of you, I'm sorry, 25% of you understand the fundamentals. The other side of it, maybe I flipped that around. 75% of you don't. You don't understand basketball or the fundamentals. You don't understand what a flagrant one is versus a three or a two. You don't understand the fundamentals of maybe dribbling or what goaltending is, right? Delay of game, certain things like that are interesting. Technical fouls will have to be. Caitlin's going to get some technicals, so we should be on top of technical fouls. So things like that. I'm here for you. But I'm going to curse on this show. I'm going to get excited. This show is not for newbies. And I'm sorry, it's not for. It is for newbies. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm really a little tired. So sorry, I'm talking a little fast. What I'm trying to say is, this is not for children. If you're a teenager or you have a childlike mind and everything Caitlin Clark does is perfect, this is not going to be the show for you, because I'm going to be critical of Caitlin Clark if she does things like punching the backstop. Okay, I'm going to hold her accountable. Look, I love her. I have to. The truth is, I have to. Thanks for watching, guys. A lot of you are watching. I see the numbers kind of creeping up there, so thanks for watching, guys. If you want to comment, you can definitely. I see all your comments too, so feel free to anywhere. So we're on. Sorry, commercial. We're on X, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. Any of your comments, I can see them up here. But if there's a number of younger fans, and they post a lot of cringy stuff. Now I post cringy stuff at times. I have to keep the borderline there, but not everything she does is going to be perfect. But I am going to be critical at times. But look, I'm going to totally praise her because I think she's revolutionized sports. So I think it's much deeper. A lot of older fans look at Caitlin Clark and they're like, this is much deeper than you guys understand. It's much deeper than her versus Angel Reese. It's much deeper than the racism stuff that people tried to make a thing of last year. That's not a real thing. That is a manufactured thing that fans that are upset will, older fans or fans of the WNBA before Caitlin, that's something they'll try to tag on Caitlin Clark fans that are a little too rabid. So I get that. Some of the fans are a little wild. They bring this stuff on themselves, but most of the fans are not. Most of Caitlin Clark's fans are young children that just love the game. Now, there's some fans, okay, that are a little too much, and they're maybe in the younger side, and they post a lot of cringy stuff, a lot of weird stuff, a lot of stuff that's not basketball. So my thing is, let's just keep it basketball related, right? Let's keep our cringiness to the game. Look, if she hits 9 3-pointers, we're going to get cringy. We're going to get excited. That's why we watch the game. If she punches the backstop, you're not going to say that's great. You're going to say that's poor sportsmanship. And unless you're up by 10 or 15, that's not helpful. You're going to lose points by doing that. So I don't know. I just want you to know that I'm not going to be an apologist for Caitlin Clark, but I'm a big Caitlin Clark fan because, again, it's much deeper. It's much deeper than the accusations that they put on fans. ESPN tried to do a lot of Fox Sports, ESPN. They tried to do a lot of gaslighting, saying that Caitlin Clark fans, it's not motivated by the love of the game. It's motivated by hatred and all these things. And even the WNBA gaslights fans, and they're just preposterous and disgusting. So we'll get into that if we need to. But I want you to know that I'm not going to be easy on the WNBA. I think a lot of the players are just not good. They're amateurs. They're not even at a pro level. I think in 5 years, as the college game has changed, and you're seeing like Paige and some other players come out of college that are just really good, that's the future. Caitlin is leading the charge. That's a generational change, right? So it's more than just, Cameron Brink, she's amazing too. So Angel Reese, she's a fraud. It has nothing to do with anything other than the fact that I've watched her play, and it's just not that good. And so there's certain players that I'm going to praise, certain players I'm not. I'm going to be hard on, and you might be surprised. So there you go. Thanks for hanging in there, guys. Again, my name is Jason J. Daniel. Let me take this graphic off so you can let's see here. So you can see me. Okay, there it is, Jason J. Daniel. This is the Jason J. Daniel Show. I do have a larger podcast that talks about other things, but I'm going to be focusing on Fever basketball this year. So thanks, guys, for hanging in there. Okay, so it's a 15-minute intro. Hopefully you understand what you're dealing with here. I'm a grown-up. I'm not going to really tolerate just, bullshit, and I'm not going to hold back. I'm going to be honest. And if the Fever struggle, I'm going to be honest. If Boston has a terrible game, I'm going to be honest. If the coach is not coaching, I'm going to be honest. If you guys jump on the coaches or the players and you're wrong, I'm going to tell you you're wrong. That's why I'm here. I'm here to help you through it. So, okay, so a few things going into the season starting tomorrow. So this is your prep. Now, I know that today we have some games already going, and what's weird, like the Valkyries is an expansion team, which is super cool. We'll talk about what an expansion team is. Some of you might not know what that is. They're going to be really bad, but I'll tell you why. So the Valkyries are playing the Sparks, for example. Sparks are in tonight. Sparks are in the Bay Area. No Cameron Brink. You do have Kelsey Plum, I believe, playing. So that changes things when you don't have your full complement of stars. And it does change things on attendance. And then Dallas is playing tonight as well. So the WNBA obviously doesn't have as many teams. We'll talk about that. I'll show you the team breakdown. I'll show you the conferences. This is your prep for – I'm going to give you enough information so you don't need really know much about the game, but I'll help you get through there so you can understand what the wins and losses mean and how the playoffs, are shaping up and what certain wins mean versus certain losses, right? What certain defenses can bring to stop Caitlin, because it's really all about that. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself, but anyway. So a few things about the whole league starting, the things you should know. The attendance is really bad right now from what I'm seeing on social media, and it's because Caitlin Clark is not playing in every game. Let's be honest. Everybody wants to watch Caitlin play. That's why the league has blown up. But people are going to maybe tolerate other games. They're going to check in. Maybe they're going to watch Paige. They're going to watch Paige play. They're going to watch the Aces that have some solid play. Connecticut. People will check in on those games. Those games that are going to be hyped up by ESPN to try to make it seem like it's going to be great. People will check in, but not like Caitlin Clark games, not like Fever games. So anytime a team plays the Fever, they're going to get more money. They're going to get more exposure. That's how the league is going to grow. I believe every I can't believe and think at the same time. I should say I believe that every game is nationwide broadcast, which is crazy. The Fever game, right? It's going to be on one of the major channels or picked up by most outlets, right? Wild stuff, but people love seeing Caitlin, and they're moving a lot of the games the road games to bigger arenas. We'll talk about that in a second. So what to know going in. Know that most people are not going to watch the other games. There's going to be a lot of complaining about that. So be prepared for that. People are going to complain and say it's Caitlin Clark fans' fault and it's everybody else's fault, but they're not going to accept the fact that people don't care about this game unless Caitlin's in it. They just don't. Look, it's something that here's something else you should know is that nobody cared about this league until Caitlin Clark showed up. Nobody cared about it. It was going bankrupt. Nobody knew there were stars. Just now, certain ladies are getting shoe deals now that Caitlin has come in. And a lot of it is because they're trying to create equity, right? Caitlin gets a shoe deal. Nobody else does. Everybody's mad, right? Because she's new. Now, a lot of that's rookie stuff, and a lot of it's jealousy on the other side of it. A lot of it is just like players that just aren't good enough to get these endorsements, but they get on TV with her, and so they feel like they should get them, right? Like if and that's why a lot of these hacks a few of them have actually gotten cut, and they're not even in the league now, by the way. But that's why a few of these hacks attacked Caitlyn in the open court, assaulted her, so it would become a thing. It'd be a technical foul. There'd be a thing. It'd go viral. They were doing that on purpose because that's the only way they'd get attention. Now, I do know that they wanted to get at her and they wanted to hurt her and put her out because they were upset over what she was getting and they weren't getting, which is a whole other argument. And I hope we can move past that into this year. But a lot of it was just people wanting, players wanting to be seen because no one cared before. So they didn't really know how to handle that other than doing basic stuff, right? Like being vicious on the court, being mean, tweet nasty things, call the fans racist, stupid shit like that in order to create controversy because they knew that it was like kind of an attention cash cow, right? The attention flow was popping. So like they were trying to get in that flow all the time. And if you got, Caitlyn makes you famous. Caitlyn can make you rich and famous. That's how powerful she is. Like if Caitlyn Clark punched somebody back on the court or something or said something about somebody that wasn't even at her level and it turned into a thing, that person could get endorsements from it. That person could get all sorts of stuff from it. Like the going viral can make them a lot of money. And that was what they were trying to do. And everybody wants to play Caitlyn. Everybody wants to be there. That's why the team is much better this year. There are ladies who are like, we want to play on that team with her. I'm sure they had to tell people, they had to turn people away. So nobody cared about this league, man. Nobody. Look, and also nobody's excited about the WNBA. Now, another thing you need to know. Nobody bought tickets. Nobody cared, man. They could get they were playing in like junior arenas. Their practice was in like church cafeterias for some of these teams. They don't have what the NBA has, and that's what a lot of people misunderstand is that the WNBA doesn't have what the NBA has. They're starting to scratch that surface because Caitlyn Clark is a franchise of her own. She's a billion-dollar brand, and you must treat her like that. That's why it's very important that the WNBA really handle this year correctly because there's no excuses for them. They can't accuse her of anything other than trying to be a baller. Everything they tried to put on her and the fans didn't stick last year. It's not going to stick this year. But look, we're going to fight back. Look, we're going to talk on social media. We're going to hold players accountable. All of us, we have voice online. We're going to use our apps and our fingers to really let the league know that we appreciate what Caitlyn Clark has brought to the game, and we're only watching it because of her. I watched women's basketball, college basketball, but didn't watch the WNBA because it wasn't good. Women's college game was much better. You had a lot of pro, top-level professional coaches involved in college basketball. It's a it's a billion-dollar industry. So all the talent was there. They're grooming these ladies to come out, and they're all going to Europe because nobody wants to go to the WNBA and make $50,000 a year, right? They can have a better life in Europe, make more money, longer careers, be well known. The WNBA was a bankrupt league. Franchises were failing. Sacramento had a failing franchise way back. And Sacramento, for example, we'll use Sacramento Monarchs as an example. I know my basketball. You might be surprised. I had gone to some Monarch games. The Monarchs have legends. Hall of Famers played for the Sacramento Monarchs, but no one remembers them. They don't. They remember the Hall of Famers kind of, but they don't remember the franchise. They just don't because no one showed up for it. And at the time that the Sacramento Kings were very, very hot 20 years ago, hugely hot. It was crazy. It was a huge rivalry. They decided to have a franchise. Okay, boom, we're going to have they added a franchise for Sacramento because they thought we can't miss. And it failed miserably, and they had to close the franchise. They had to sell it and close it. So they did their best. I think they had it 7 years or something. I'd have to look at my history. But look, it's a bitter pill for the WNBA to swallow and a bitter pill for fans of the WNBA from way back and a bitter pill for players now, older players to really understand that. And it's a bitter pill for them to swallow to understand that no one cares about any of these teams unless they're playing the Fever. Nobody's excited to watch the WNBA unless they're watching Caitlyn Clark and the Fever. And it's unfortunate because a lot of these players were very mediocre and stayed mediocre. And then they all of a sudden think that they're entitled to get the same amount of attention Caitlin was getting, and they can't even hit a layup. They can't even hit shots, man. Air balls. I mean, I'm sure you've seen compilations online with air balls, missed layups. It was a bad product. Until Caitlin showed up, it really was a terrible product. I know you're going to hate that, but I'm just going to be honest with you. You can't accept that fact, but you're going to have to. All right. So nobody wants to watch this unless Caitlin is in it. Nobody bought tickets, but now you can't get a ticket. I checked. Some of the ticket prices are $600. Some of the ticket prices in preseason were crazy. The media really downplayed the effect that Caitlin Clark had on the game. They so downplayed it. They wanted to make it all about she's shooting 3-pointers and showing up the other team in preseason. She shouldn't try that hard, whatever. But they were really downplaying the fact that the Caitlin Clark effect is going to be 10x right now. It's going to be even greater than it was last year. It's insane to think that. It's also insane to think that Caitlin Clark doesn't already own this league. She could buy this league. She's honestly that rich, man. Her brand is that rich. She has that much liquidity probably in her assets right now that she could freaking buy this league. Like they gave her Michael Jordan treatment in endorsements and money, huge money, and that's where all the jealousy came from. I mean, it's crazy. They started flying first class because Caitlin said we all need to fly first class, and then they started flying first class, and then they hated her for it. Then they talked shit about her. So, you can't win. But look, they're going to need to understand that Caitlin owns this league. Okay, a lot of people are going to have to come to grips with that. They're going to have to understand that you can't mock her or mock the fans or ignore her fans or ridicule them. No one can do what she can do. There's a lot of 3-point shooters in the WNBA. They mostly all are 3-point shooters because they're not hitting the rim and stuff. They're not jamming it in like NBA Jam, but they're not like her. The way she shoots the ball, the way she handles, she's got handles that, and you've seen this before, you've heard this before, but I'll just reiterate. She has handles we have not seen in a basketball player, not just a women's player, but in a basketball player in a long time. She's got better handles than a lot of the point guards in the NBA, in the men's game. And you just have to accept that. She's a highlight reel every game. It is something that no one's ever seen in the WNBA ever. Never. There's never been a player like her. Now, some of the old school players that came before her understand the talent, and they understand Cheryl Miller, for example, a legend. If you don't know who I'm talking about, then that's why you're watching, because there are legends that you don't know about that came before her. That there's a generation in between her and the beginnings of the WNBA. There's a generation. The older generation, most of them they love her and what she's brought to it. It's this middle generation, the generation before Caitlin, they're the haters. It's the players that got there before her that are a little older than her that have languished and they're mediocre. They don't work on their games. They're the haters. So that's where it comes from. Look, if all the players embraced her and the WNBA embraced her, the hatred would stop. They're going to have to, because they're not bankrupt. She's the only one keeping that she's the only. Now there might be some stars coming in. She's the only one keeping that league alive. Nobody can shoot the lights out like her, man. It's pretty wild. Okay, so let's get to what to expect. All right, there's some things to expect. What I was talking about earlier. Expect the announcers to be a little better than they were this year, a little more respectful. It was really hard to watch the games. In some cases, I had to turn the sound off because the announcers. There was a hater announcer, and then there was another hater, or there was a hater and a half hater. The straight caller, the guy that's like, we're doing this, and the ball goes here, and the pass, and for that guy versus like the commentator going, oh, what a great play. Da-da-da. That's called the color commentator. Most of the time, the color commentators are ex-players who had to hate Caitlin because that's what they had to do. Then it started to bleed over to the straight guy. And there's this one guy that was calling the nationwide games, and he started to get involved in the hate. downplay what she was doing. She would do one of the most amazing passes I've ever seen. I watched the game for 20 years. I would see them, and I would TikTok it. See, check out my TikTok, Real Jason J. Daniel. I would see the most incredible passes, like wild, like unbelievable, behind the unbelievable stuff. And I'm getting off of the couch screaming at the TV, oh my God. And they're like, oh, okay. And now let's rebound it. They were, let's inbound the ball. They were completely ignoring it. And Caitlin for two with the assist, completely downplaying it like it was just an average play. And it was so infuriating. Well, they started to get a lot of heat for that. So expect that to be a little better. Let's hope. But you never know. So I would say expect it to be better, but they're going to be completely annoying. So I'm going to rip them on TikTok. Look, nobody can pass the ball like Caitlin. Nobody can distribute it like Caitlin. So the announcers need to start to give her props. I understand the other players are watching the tape. Everybody watches the same tape. I get it. And they don't want to seem like they're giving her favoritism. But goddamn, if she's doing something nobody else can do, you're supposed to celebrate it. That's why we pay for these tickets. That's why we spend our time watching the game. That's why I'm doing a podcast about it, because she's got something no one has ever seen. No one. And so that's to be celebrated, but expect the announcers to struggle. I do know that they're bringing in some better talent on the announcing crews. So let's see, but you're getting a lot of nationwide games, so you just don't know what you're getting here. So, she's Showtime. She is really Showtime, and that's something that's really important to understand, is that team is going to, as Caitlin goes, that team is going to go. I mean, she has half-court passing that's spectacular, and they would ignore it or say, oh, what a great pass, what a smart play. That would make me crazy. Instead, in some cases, they'd say that was amazing, but super rare. So, so there's that. So expect the announcers to be a little better, okay? But we'll see. Another thing you need to know, which is really crazy, is every game that she plays on the road is now being moved to a bigger arena. I think most every game. It's either a nationwide game or a big arena game or both. A lot of them are being moved to the NBA arenas. It's crazy. Expect that to create incredible momentum for the Fever. That's like playing a home game on the road, because they're not all showing up for the other team. That if the team can barely sell out their small junior arena by themselves, the fact that the Fever comes into town, it's like what the Bulls had in the early 90s. I'm sorry, low 90s Bulls. With Michael Jordan, like you couldn't get a ticket. It would be front page news, which is what Caitlin is again. We haven't had that in years. It's a generational thing. Jordan would be front page news. What the Bulls were doing was front page news. If the Bulls lost, that was front page news. If they won, it was front page news. Everybody talked about the Chicago Bulls because there wasn't any team that could stand up to them. And the Fever, they are like that. The Fever, look, they're on the verge of a dynasty. They really are. If Caitlin and this team win the title this year, I'm not saying they will. I think it would be tricky. I've looked at the schedule. I've looked at things. I don't think that would be an easy thing to do. It would be phenomenal if they were able to do it. Okay. Now I thought they could do it last year, but the refs rigged it. But if they were able to do it, that would be a game changer for history. It would be the beginning of the first legitimate WNBA franchise. There hasn't been a franchise. It would be up there with any other sports franchise. Like what she's doing to the game is unbelievable, man. I mean, her focus, her laser-like focus as a competitor, and the fact that they've gotten a really smart team around her now. They've cut out a lot of the immaturity, a lot of the silliness. They've brought in veterans with some championship experience. All good stuff. So let's see here. Another thing you need to know is this team was handpicked by Caitlin. In fact, I knew it. When I saw them putting the team together, I'm like, this team's handpicked by Caitlin Clark, man. And then when they when that I don't know if you saw that Sports Illustrated article come out. Thanks for watching, guys. I see the numbers. Thank you. When that Sports Illustrated article came out yesterday, it was yesterday, I think. It actually said, if you read it, there's a portion in there where they say they ran the new additions by Caitlin. Why wouldn't you? She not only is in charge of that franchise, and she got the coach fired, by the way. Let's just be honest. Caitlin wanted a new coach. We all thought it was happening. Now I would have taken another year of their last coach, Christy Sides. I would have taken another year because I felt for her a little bit. No one knows how to handle that. But anyway, my point is Caitlin wanted a coach. They want to win. They're competitive. She's young. She's in her prime. She's smart enough to know that she has to take it at all costs. That's vicious. She's a savage. So she got rid of the coach. She's making choices. They admitted it in the Sports Illustrated article. Caitlin is pretty much handpicking this team, and it's a smart team. They're bigger in the front. They've got some bigger ladies as far as tall is concerned. They've got shot blockers. They've got tough championship experience they brought in. They kept Kelsey Mitchell. We'll get into that towards the end. I'm not happy with that, but we'll get into that. But back to the crowds being big, this team thrives off of Showtime Caitlin Clark energy. When Caitlin is energized, the team is energized. When the team is energized, they play incredibly. Like Lexi Hull is so good. She will, if she continues and doesn't get hurt, continues a career, especially with the Fever, and keeps winning, she will be a Hall of Famer. We have potential Caitlin's already a Hall of Famer, but we have Hall of Fame players on this team. This is a legitimate team to worry about. Sports Illustrated even said in their article yesterday, this is a scary team. People are scared of this team because they have all the pieces. Now, I don't know if they have the pieces for a championship, but they have a lot of the pieces in the intangibles. We'll get to that in a second. But it's a Showtime team. This is the new Showtime. There's a generation of teams that's Showtime. It was the Warriors it was the Warriors' turn to be the generational Showtime team. Now it's the Fever. I never thought I'd be talking about WNBA like this. First of all, I would never saw myself buying a WNBA shirt, and I would never see myself watching as much WNBA as I've watched. I switched my whole TikTok account to essentially WNBA. It's crazy. Again, I'm Real Jason J. Daniel on TikTok. I do 1,000 followers. I do sports, so check it out. But I do a lot of Caitlin Clark stuff. It's pretty wild. So yeah, this team was handpicked by Caitlin. Hey, she's changed me. She's brought me on. I'm a fan. The GM ran things through her for her approval. That coach is a coach that can handle a star player. That's really important that they know how to do that. I appreciate that. And this team's ready to be led by Caitlin Clark. Okay, they're ready. They've embraced her. They're ready to protect her. We saw that in the preseason. Sophie Cunningham, she is a dog, man. DB, Vicious. These are some really serious ladies, and they have some championship experience on this team now, which is really important. The last year's team was really rebellious to Caitlin in a lot of ways, and they were just not sure how to make this work. They didn't have a coach that could sit them down and say, hey, she runs this team. They just weren't giving her the respect that they needed. But now she has it. She dictates the course. She's a leader. She works harder than anyone else. She earns her money. She earns her fame. She is the consummate professional. Today they released a video, an interview of her saying, this is discipline. We're disciplined. I'm disciplined off season. Discipline. I'm a grown up. This is what a professional is all about. Being a professional is you show up and you work out during the off season. She said the WNBA doesn't even check in on you during the off season. They don't have an off season check. That's how broke this league is. And so that's why it's so undisciplined and all the players are mediocre. Most of them, because they show up and the ones that work hard are the ones that are standing out because they learn the key. The key is hard work. But it's a mediocre league, and Caitlin is improving it. I'm already seeing the improvements. The draft, the ladies that were drafted in, really solid, better than last year. Look at Angel Reese. She's a mess. They're going to move her around. They don't know what position she's going to be in. She's a bricklayer. She can't hit a shot. The whole thing is a charade. That franchise got fucked because of her. They're going to lose tomorrow to the Fever. We'll get into that. They're a bad team. Expect her to be traded next year if she stays in. So they have a ton of veterans of playoff experience on this team, and half the team's way more mature, man. And they're ready to win. They're ready to win. Okay, so the next thing you need to know is the referees will be just as bad as they were last year. This year, they're going to be a mess. So when I'm talking on my TikTok, I'm encouraging people to keep track of the referees, find out who's refereeing these games, and if they do unfair things like call fouls on Caitlin don't exist, continue to call travel on her to make turnovers happen. Remember that thing where she had the highest turnovers? Half of those turnovers were generated by the refs themselves. Another part of those turnovers, a certain percentage, was because their team couldn't catch the ball. But all those things are going to be fixed, except the referees. So our voice on social media as fans is much more powerful than you realize now. You need to hold the referees accountable and be on top of it. So anything you see, tweet it or post on X, post on Instagram, TikTok, talk about it, talk about these referees, hold them accountable, and it will change. Trust me. These referees are so corrupt. Trust me. They're so corrupt, being paid by the Illuminati of the WNBA. If they get enough heat on social media, they're going to change their tune. They're going to be fair. We just want to be fair. We want them to be fair. The game should not be about referees. Half of my TikToks last year about Caitlin and the Fever were about the referees fucking them over. I don't want to see that. I want to see basketball. I want to see it to be fair. Look, they're going to make mistakes. I'll tell you this. I watched all of my TikToks again getting ready for the season. And of all the TikToks I did that were about referee misconduct, probably 90% of them, I'd still do them again. Maybe one or two of the TikToks, I said, okay, maybe I was a little out of pocket. That might have been questionable at the time. But in hindsight, watching a lot of what I saw was referee misconduct. It wasn't mistakes. It was mis-fucking conduct. I could stand by my decisions on those TikToks and say it was still misconduct. It's still misconduct today. It was misconduct back then. And if they do that stuff again, it's going to be misconduct going forward. So let's hold them accountable. I will. And if you like what I'm doing, you watch what I'm doing, share my posts on TikTok and share my post on X, and we'll hold them accountable. You know what? It's really important that we enjoy basketball. We're paying for this. That's why when referees take all the power in a game and change momentum and cheat our teams, it's important we hold them accountable. NFL is the same fucking problem. It's wild. So, okay, so the referees will be just as bad. Hopefully they'll be a little better. I'm not holding out hope, but we need to document what they're doing. We need to hold them accountable, man. And, their fake behavior, we need to hold them accountable for it. So thanks for watching, guys. Let me get some water. I hate it when that sounds so bad when I listen to it. Okay, so there you go. I think that's what you need to know. Okay, another thing you need to know, Caitlin Clark had a whole off season to rest, okay? And she is a multimillionaire. And because of that, and obviously probably the most popular sports star right now, okay? Because of that in the world, okay? Jordan level. Because of that, she gets everything at her disposal that she needs. She gets any medicine she needs. She gets nutrition. She gets supplements, a hyperbolic chamber. She gets it. Okay, she's going to have everything she needs to stay healthy, and she's got the mindset. She's disciplined. We love it. She's going to be playing very hard. Now, the only thing that could keep, from this point on, the only thing that could keep this team from really winning is an injury to Caitlin Clark. They can work with anybody else being injured. No worries. But Caitlin is the cog that makes this machine move. So they need to keep her healthy. And what I mean by that is protect her. So the new additions that they brought in will be enforcers. They need to be on top of it. They need to really enforce the fact that if other ladies are trying to hurt her to put her out of the game, that's misconduct. There's no tackle football in this, right? There's no incidental contact. That was something I heard last year that was a fucking joke. Caitlin gets hit super hard. Ball comes out. It's a turnover. They call it incidental contact. No, in the real world, that's called a foul. Okay? You can't just forearm shiver somebody in the back and call it incidental contact. And that doesn't even exist in the NBA, man. Basketball, that's football. So you've got announcers that don't know what they're talking about. They're misleading you. For newbies, they are confusing them because they're saying shit that doesn't exist. And that's why I'm here for you. I'm going to call it out. I'm going to call it out on TikTok. I'm going to call it out on social, on the podcast after every game. And if they say something that is stupid, I'm going to explain to you what it's about and what you should know about it, because that's why I'm here for you. That's my job. I'm here for you. So, last year, opposing teams really tried to hurt Caitlin, and they let it slide. We're not letting it slide this year. Okay, so predictions. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, let's just hold them accountable, guys. Hold them accountable. Social media is very powerful. It's very powerful. I mean, because of that, you know who I am right now. We're talking. Okay, here are my predictions. Okay, we're wrapping up. I'm going to try to wrap this up in 10 minutes. It'll be a short show for me. It's a shocker. Thanks, guys, for hanging in there. Again, my name is Jason J. Daniel. If you just joined me, I am a podcaster. I do sports on TikTok. I do sports podcasts, and I'm going to be doing a Fever podcast after every game, hopefully right after. I'll be doing a post-game show for you guys, and we'll break down the games. I'm not doing a pre-game show. That's too much. But I'm going to try to do, I have a lot going on with my podcast. I'm podcasting a lot, but I'm going to aggressively try to have fun with it and keep you guys posted. Okay, so predictions. My prediction this year, we'll cut this and post it as a clip so we can go back to it. Okay, my prediction for Caitlin Clark is MVP. I don't think there's any doubt in anyone's mind. She's actually leading the odds of betting for MVP. I don't think there's any doubt in anyone's mind that she will be the MVP. A lot of it has to do with the way that her team is much stronger. She's going to have better opportunities to really shine, and the team is going to work with her. She's going to be clutch. She's going to get that last shot, all those things, the superstar stuff. She's going to get the opportunities to be the MVP. If you don't get the opportunities on the court, it can't happen. Now, we know this year's Wilson, this year's MVP, they say she's looking strong. She's really good. When you watch her play, she's very good, but she plays against a lot of mediocre competition. Maybe you can say that about Caitlin as well, but the Eastern Conference is stronger than the conference that the Aces play in, and I'll explain that to you. I'll show that to you. We'll screen share it in a second. So Caitlin right away is going to play in a tougher conference, which if she is succeeding, that's going to give her the edge on MVP. And if the Fever win more games, that's going to help too. I'm predicting also Caitlin Clark will lead in assists this year. She's going to probably have the all-time assist record in history. We'll see how it shakes out. Depends on if her game changes as people get older. Their game changes, how the structure of the team around them, all those things. It's very unpredictable. A lot of moving parts. But let's just focus on this year. We know she can do it, and she loves to do it. Let's just be honest. She loves to score, but she loves to pass the ball to get her team involved, and she loves to win. She loves to win more than all of that. So I would say that she would lead the league in scoring, but it's tough to lead the league in scoring and assists, right? Because you're either scoring or passing the ball. It's very difficult. I think she was maybe 5 or 6 in scoring. Yeah, I think that was. Yeah, no, she was 5, I think, in percentage. But again, she had a lot of trouble, in the first, a lot of turnovers in the first part of the season last year. We forget about that. She had a really tough, 10-game stretch, but she was obviously had a lot of miles on the tires from playing in the NCAA and didn't really have an off season, gets drafted, has all this media and attention. There was a lot on Caitlin Clark. There really was. So she's obviously fresher. We can't, take away from that. So if she stays healthy, we're looking at MVP, and we're looking at the leader in assists. Now for the Fever, we'll look at the schedule. I looked at the schedule. Last year, they were 20-20, 500 team. That's really not good. Honestly, it's not good. What's crazy is that they were celebrated as though they were in the finals. That's how excited people were about them. So it's going to be a really great year. This is a fresh year. We have all the pieces as fans. I'm not saying we, the Fever, because I hate it when people say we and you didn't play on the team. You're not playing on the team. Unless you're really a player, you don't say we. But we as the fans are so excited because we have everything in place to have a fantastic year. Healthy superstar, rested superstar, a really good team. Like I got to say, I'll say this. They did everything I wanted them to do except one thing. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, how lucky am I as a fan to get them to do everything I wanted them to do And now let's see what we get with that, right? Am I a smart fan or not? Now, I'll just tell you, I'll be honest. Kelsey Mitchell staying really was disappointing to me. Very disappointing. And I'm very, very concerned about her impact on this team. She's an older player. They signed her for 1 year. She's towards the end of her career. She really wants to, I guess, just make her mark. She killed them in that last playoff game. She really did. She killed them. Their coach killed them in the second game that they lost. Caitlin she got the coach pulled her out. The coach fucked things up. And then when you needed to go to Caitlin in the fourth quarter of that win or go home game, Kelsey Mitchell was hogging the ball and shot like 8 shots and shot him out. I was so disappointed. I couldn't believe it. They were struggling to stay in that game because they just didn't have the defense. There was some bad coaching. Caitlin got him back in. If you remember, there was a big 3-pointer. I think it may have even tied the game. Caitlin got him back in, and then Kelsey Mitchell started shooting them out of the game. And what she likes to do is she likes to take the worst shots at the worst time. And if they go in, you're like, no, oh, yay. She is a risky gambling player. And there's a lot of people throughout NBA history that play like that and have played like that. It is rare they're on championship teams. It's undisciplined. So I'm really hoping this year, and I didn't want them to re-sign her. I was like, Erica Wheeler, I wanted them to keep. I was really bummed about that. She was a good backup for Caitlin. Really bummed about that. She could hit some shots. She knew the role. Erica Wheeler is now, I think, in Seattle, I think. So we miss her. But that's the only one we miss. No one else we miss. But Miller, she just shot him out. So I'm really concerned that that's going to happen again. And if it does, I hope they rein it in. She should not be taking the last shot. Caitlin Clark should. Caitlin Clark should always take the last shot. It should be Jordan Pippen. If she wants to be Pippen, she needs to learn that role. And that role is slice and dice, be dangerous, be more an inside game than outside game. That's what she needs to be. If they move her to more of an inside game and have Caitlin stay more on the outside, that is a killer combination, which means Caitlin has to play the 2 sometimes. Caitlin is a natural 2. I know everybody tells me she's a 1. I'll explain that. A 2 is a point guard. I'm sorry, a 2 is a shooting guard like Michael Jordan. A 1 is a point guard like Steph Curry. A lot of people want to say she's Steph Curry. I don't see that. I see it differently. I see Curry is more of a shooter, scorer first, assist later. Caitlin is whatever you need her to be. She's good at whatever position she's at, right? So if you play her point guard, she's going to kill you with the assist, lights out. If you move her to the 2, she's going to murder you with the outside shot. She is that good. So she can play. She's a guard, essentially. She can play both those positions so well. But in college, their success was massive when she played the 2. I'll help you guys through that, okay? So I think they're going to settle her into point guard in the pros. I hate that, but we'll live with it. I just didn't think it worked last year as much as people wanted it to work. I really didn't. I really thought whenever Caitlin had a chance to play the 2, she was lethal. And that was usually, Christy Sides usually did that in the 3rd. They'd come back after the 2nd. By the way, I watched every game last year. Okay. So I broke down the tape. I did TikToks. I rewind. Look, I know these games. There are times when they would move Caitlin to the 2, and I was like, oh, that's great. And she would be lethal, right? And what that means is like basically the ball, that's how you'll know if they're doing that is when Caitlin is not bringing the ball up into the key, right? She might bring it up a little bit, but then she passes it, right? And then someone else will move that ball in the key, and then Caitlin can set up on the outside, right? So Kelsey, she should be the one that's really setting Caitlin up, but she wasn't knowing that role. So let's hope they can make that work. Caitlin's got to get the ball more this year. She just has to get it more than anybody else. She has to get one now. I'll say this, Boston. We haven't talked about Boston at all. Boston is super important presence. So good. I mean, she's a first-round draft pick. Think about that. This team it's her 3rd year. Caitlin's 2nd year. This team is coming together. So even the youngins they got some experience. Boston it should get the ball as much as Caitlin, okay? In some certain cases, right? Caitlin more, but Boston can even hit that three a little bit when she's feeling it. So I'm excited. I'm just talking about it gets me excited for tomorrow. 10 o'clock tomorrow, guys. 10 o'clock Pacific tomorrow. I'm on the West Coast. So I do believe so counting the wins, 36 win season. I'm predicting 16 more wins than last year. And I was even looking at the tough teams and going 50-50. I wasn't even I was being very stingy on tough team wins. I'm giving them the Dream is a mess. The Sky's a mess. They play the Dream a lot. They play the Washington team a lot. They're messes. So Seattle, automatic. Lynx are tough. New York's going to be tough. Obviously, LA's tough. Sparks, I'm looking at Sparks as could be the sleeper team. I love me some Plum. She is legit, man. Cameron Brink. I'm gonna watch those. Those are games I'm gonna watch because I love those ladies. So, and they're just fierce. I like it. Cameron Brink, by the way, still out. She's recovering. She just started working out after that really bad injury last year, which was really bad. Let's pray for her that she doesn't have one of those again. That would be tough. Okay, so my predictions: MVP, Caitlin MVP. Caitlin leads in assists, 36 win season. Do you realize the 36 win season is bananas? So I'm thinking big. Okay, I'm thinking big. Let's say they get a 30 win season. That's still 10 more than last year. That is, look, if they won 20 last year, if they get 21 wins, that's huge. Okay, that's progress. In the NBA, win one more game than last year, go a little farther in the playoffs than you did last year. That's progress. It is really tough to sustain progress in pro sports from year to year in this day and age, and it's really tough in basketball. You have to take it incrementally. It is not logical to say the Fever. No, I'll just say this: not logical to say the Fever, a 20-win team, is going to win the finals and get the ring. That's not realistic. It's highly improbable. It's possible, but it's not probable. We're going to stay realistic, right, guys? But we're also going to think big because we being as fans, we have, again, Caitlin fan, we have like a generational player that can draw 50 or 40 like she's going to have. I can't predict that, and who knows? It's going to be tough. She gets hurt tomorrow. It's over. I know. I'm not going to jinx it. But she can drop, look, I think she averaged 26 points a game. That's crazy. So she's a machine, man. She's on top of her nutrition. She's on top of her training this year. She's got plenty of rest. She is a machine. The coach was telling a story. I think it was the coach, or was it the GM, telling a story about how Caitlin comes back from vacation, or she's on vacation, like out of the country, and then like 2 days later, she's on time for her own practice. It's like she's doing her own routines. She's a gym rat. She's focused. Look, she's a consummate professional. That's how you make it work, man. That's how you become a legend. It's hard work. A lot of it is hard work. Yes, you can be talented, but hard work is so important. So keep that in mind. Hard work is important. I want to say also to those of you watching, thank you so much for watching. I'll be doing this after every game. Follow me. Boom. Follow me, Jason J. Daniel. Now, real Jason J. Daniel right there. I'm doing this like it's kind of tricky, but there you go. Real Jason J. Daniel. That's my TikTok where I do all my sports stuff. So go there. I do sports on X as well. But my TikTok is just sports. On X, I do TV reviews and I do politics, which is kind of fun. I do interviews on my podcast. So thanks for watching. Again, the Jason J. Daniel Show. Okay, so again, 20-win season. They were 50-50. They were 500, 50-50. That's a really bad year for most teams, but they made it in the playoffs. And what's interesting is when they were starting to put it together, they went on such a crazy tear that they were able to squeak in. And plus, the Sky fell apart. It was not the Sky, but Chicago Sky. Remember last year, the Sky, when they realized that Angel Reese was killing them, it was too late. They were letting her take all these shots and get all these, trying to get her to the double-double record. And that was when you get your eye off the ball and you get one player that doesn't deserve it and try to give them stats because you want to sell fucking T-shirts and merchandise, you're not going to go anywhere. You're going to have a losing season. You're not going to make the playoffs. you're going to start getting people traded. And she's 1 year away from trade, because if she has a really down year, which she's going to, there's no way Angel Reese can have the same year she had. Not possible. There's just other talent on that team that's going to need to step up. And also, the GM already said, hey, we're moving her around. Okay, we're going to switch positions because she's killing us. She had a miserable preseason. And I don't believe in playing stars in preseason. That's why I believed in playing her. She's not a star. You play your non-stars, your non-starters in preseason. Now, you let those starters and stars warm up 5 minutes, 6 minutes. You don't play them. That's why Sophie Cunningham got hurt. She's one of your stars. They played her too much, but that's okay. I know they're getting her warm. They overplayed that. It is what it is. Now, we'll talk about that. We'll give you a little preview of what's going on tomorrow. She is hurt. She's out. If you didn't see the injury report, Sophie Cunningham is out with the ankle sprain, but they're holding her back. She's fine. She's practicing. There's video of her doing all sorts of crazy half-court shots, running around on the court. She's fine, but they don't want to play her against the sky because, we'll get to that in a second. Okay, so my predictions, I don't think that going back to the scoring title, I don't think Caitlin's going to get the scoring title, only because the assists are probably going to be more important for her in the long run. Plus, she makes her score up with big shots, threes. She's going to get some 3 fouls because the ladies try to step on her feet. They're going to start calling that this year. That was something they were going to work on because that can hurt somebody, put them out, break a foot, twist an ankle. That's unsportsmanlike. But the reason why she's not going to mostly get the scoring title is there's going to be a lot of bottom feeder teams. Most of the teams, half of the teams, will be bottom feeders, and you're going to have some ball hogs on there that's going to jack up shots in order to get the scoring record. So not going to happen. Okay. So here's the other thing we need to know. Getting out of the first round is a great season. It's a great season. Now, if they win 36 games, they will be in the playoffs. Probably 25 wins get you in the playoffs. 20 got them in, but it's tough to say. I'd say 20 to 30 gets you in for sure, depending on what's going on in the conference. And again, it's a small league, right? 13 teams, so anything can happen. So if they get out of the first round, now getting to the playoffs, expected. Okay, I'm not going to be a great season if they get bounced again. I'm going to say that's no bueno. If they get more wins in the regular and get bounced, I can work with that, but I'm going to be just super disappointed, and especially how they get bounced. But if they get out of the first round, that's going to be that means second round or more. That's going to be a very good season. If they can get 36 wins, that's going to be a good season. Get out of the first round, that's a great season. And if somehow they win the ring, that's going to be a phenomenal season. But it's possible. It's possible. Who knows? So I'm running a little long on this, but I do want to show you something. I'm gonna let's see here. Again, getting out of the first round is a great season. Keep that in mind, guys. So let's take our graphics off, and I'm going to do a little screen share here. Let's look at the Fever schedule really quick, and that'll give you kind of a feel for what I was talking about. Okay, so let's look at the schedule, and I'll give you an idea of why I came up with 36. So we've got the Sky tomorrow at home, which is automatic, slam dunk. The Dream is a mess, another home game. Fever on the road, back-to-back. They're going to work them. Liberty's a tough game. Mystics, easy. Sun's a tough game. They've got some tough customers there. Another Sky game, Mystic. Those are wins, man. Another win. That's a win. Liberty, maybe. Again, 50-50. We can give them a win there. A loss there, maybe. Valkyries, that's the expansion team. By the way, I didn't get a chance to really talk about expansion teams. Expansion teams are teams where all the other teams, the league says, okay, let's give us your third bench players, like the people you really don't need. And then they go into a pool, and there's something called the expansion draft, and then players are picked from that pool. Those are the players that aren't good. They're the bottom feeder players. So normally a franchise that's an expansion team has a really bad first year, and then they have to warm up. I mean, they're like putting the entire thing together. it's like from top to bottom, a whole new organization. So that's obviously a win. I checked those tickets, by the way, for the expansion. It's like $700 to see Caitlin. It's crazy. Fever Aces, that's a tough one. Aces at home, that's going to be a tough game. But Fever will rise to the occasion. Fever will work the storm. Sparks, that's a 50-50, but I'm going to say by then in June, if Cameron's back, I think that's going to be a tough game, but I still think Sparks at Fever, tough to win. Wings, easy. Dallas is going to be bad. Even though they have Paige this year, Dallas is going to be bad. They're just undisciplined. They're not fundamental. They have a lot of just ball hogs that just shoot the lights out. They're not focused on winning. Fever, Aces. Aces at Fever, we'll split that. We'll say Fever lose at home to Aces, but let's give us one bit of balance. I say Fever at home against Aces. MVP battle. That's gonna be a great game right there. That's gonna be 4th of July weekend. Excited about that. Sparks at Fever, another game. That 4th of July weekend coming off the for some people the 5th is part of the weekend for them. Sparks at Fever, that'll be a fun one. Maybe Sparks steal one on the road. Valkyrie will lose at home, obviously against the Fever. Dream, Wings. So you see where I'm going here. You see where I'm going. It's really hard for me to see a scenario where the Fever lose 20 games again. I just don't see that. It's hard for me to see a scenario where they don't win 30. But I was being very optimistic and I thought reasonable. And I gave them, going through the standings, I gave them possibly a 36 game win. Okay, so from there, let's talk about the actual standings and what it looks like in the conferences, and it'll give once you look at how the divisions are set up, it's going to give you a better feel for like what the Fever need to do to get to the playoffs. Let me screen share on that one. Okay, cool. Let me show this one. Here we go. Okay, so here's the actual breakdown, the standings, right? So this is WNBA.com. Okay, so let's look at the Eastern. Let's look at the league view first. Okay, so let's look at last year. This is all last year. Liberty obviously had the best record, 32-8. Now you understand, 32-8. Now there's going to be more games this year, so that's why I could give the Fever a 36 game, season. But think about that. New York Liberty, and look at the Lynx, 30 wins. Connecticut gets in. They went deep on a 28-win season. So look at this. So and the Aces, look, 27 wins. So what I'm giving you, Seattle will not be that good this year. And here was the Fever. They were in the 6th seed, right? Okay. So what I'm giving you, right, is I'm optimistically telling you that the Fever can have a massively good year. Massively good year. I'm trying to be realistic. And you looked at the schedule with me. Like, a lot of those are bottom feeder teams, right? That there's just no way they're going to get worked by the Valkyrie, right? Or they play Atlanta a lot. So that's going to be fun. Okay. So let's look. Okay. These are last year's numbers, of course. Look at Atlanta, brutal. Washington, brutal. Chicago, brutal. Like, for anybody to say, let's just be honest, for anybody to say that the Chicago Sky and that Angel Reese is a star, you just got to look at that. Their percentage was 1.32. It's just it's an abomination to have somebody on a team that bad get that much press. But again, she generated herself, and there was a lot of people really invested in her being awesome, and it didn't come to fruition. Am I being hard on her? Yeah, I am being hard on her because she made things very hard on Caitlin Clark and Caitlin Clark fans last year. So yeah, I'm being fucking hard on her because she's overhyped. So that she's gonna have to live with that. But here's now the flip side is Indiana is in a conference with two really tough teams. So these are the only teams you're worried about in this conference. Now, you can't fall asleep on any of these teams. They'll probably be a little better, not Chicago. Atlanta, maybe. But I think, honestly, the 1, 2, and 3, the 3 spot, that's gonna flip around a little bit. I could easily see Indiana being 2 overall, maybe 1. I could see that. Just depends on if there's injuries, how the Liberty does. You just never know. I don't see the Sky even getting close to it. It's a bottom feeder team. So let's look at the Western Conference. The Western Conference is not as tough. It's not as tough. You've got Minnesota, tough team, coached by a really good coach. I hate her, but she's really good. She's dirty as fuck, but that's a good coach. That coach makes up probably half of those wins. Really, she's that good. Aces, obviously, they're a good team. They've got some killers on that team. The Storm, look at that. They're 25 wins. They were in the 3rd slot last year in that conference. Storm, I could see them being there. Mercury had a tough year with some stars. They don't have those stars. They're going to be a bad team unless we're totally surprised. The Wings might play a little better. I could see them being up a little higher here. I see the Sparks being better. Remember when Cameron got hurt, they just went into the toilet, right? So I see Phoenix being at the bottom. Well, this will be on video, so we'll go back and see. I see Sparks, Wings, Storm mixing it up here. I see Phoenix at the bottom. Okay, so now that being said, if let's get excited. Let's hype ourselves up. If Caitlin Clark and the Fever go far in the playoffs, I see them playing. I see Minnesota in the finals. I think that would be great. I could see Minnesota over Vegas. And I see. That being said, I think Indiana is going to have to get through Connecticut to get there. That would be crazy. That a conference finals, that would be dope to have. That would be crazy. Connecticut, that would be a hot game, hot ticket. Can't sleep on the Liberty, but I do think Connecticut has it this year. Okay, at least. I think they'll probably win the conference, just depending on what the Fever do. But I don't think the Liberty will come out. I don't think they'll be in the finals. I think it would be Connecticut. But who knows? Look, the Fever's going to mix it up. And the other side of that is the Indiana Fever have their own destiny in their hands. They have whatever it takes, man, to win. They've got it all. They have whatever they need to do to win. They have a predicted MVP. They have what it takes to get these wins, the 36 wins. They have the assist leader. They have a really great veteran team. They have every road game is going to be in a big arena, which is essentially a home game. They have also these mega advantages. And Caitlin's the best player in the NBA, hands down. I'm sorry, the WNBA, hands down. No doubt about it. These advantages, I'm also playing into the number of wins that they get. I think all these intangibles make a difference. I think having DB and having Sophie is huge, it's crazy, man. It's really crazy where they could go. So there you go. So tomorrow's game, very quickly, and I'll wrap with this. Sky is at Fever. Look for Caitlin Clark to have a monster game against the Sky. Look for them to try to do the whole Angel Reese as a star thing. It's played out. It's not gonna work. She's not gonna have a good game. If she does have a good game, it will be a blowout for the Sky, which is what I think happened the last time, a time before in the Barbie game. Remember that? They got barbecued. Caitlin Clark barbecued them in the Barbie game. Angel Reese had a miserable game, and they just, once they got blown out by the Fever, because it was Caitlin wanted to win that fucking game. They just started feeding Angel Reese the ball so she can get that double-double record. They're going to talk about that a lot tomorrow, but I just don't see Angel having a good game. I think Caitlin's going to score more points than her, even though it doesn't matter. I don't know. I can see 30 points, maybe 25, but we'll see. But then again, man, we could be surprised. We could be surprised, and there's no chemistry, and Caitlin has an off game, and the Sky, steal one. I think that's a possibility, but I don't think it's likely. I think this one's in the bag. Sophie Cunningham is out, ankle injury. That's on my TikTok. If you want to read that, they announced that. My theory on that is they don't need her for the Sky. It's going to be really easy to beat them, so why put her out there? Give her a day of rest. They're going to be shooting a lot of threes anyway, and that's the Sky's weakness. The Sky can't stop the three. They're just going to rain threes all over them. They have a good, solid inside game, but Boston is a tough customer. So I expect Boston to have a good game. I expect some good defense. I expect that Caitlin will and the Fever will score about 90, and I think they'll keep they'll keep Chicago under 80. So I think they'll have at least a 10-point win. I think it'd be that significant. They might even have a double-digit lead. So there you go. There's your preview, and I think it's on ESPN. I think it's on ESPN, 10 o'clock Pacific, which is like, 1 o'clock for East Coasters. And there you go. So, again, my name is Jason J. Daniel. Thank you for watching this NWA, watching this WNBA preview, Caitlin Clark and the Hot Fever. Please sub and follow. Really appreciate that. Take the time to like this post, share the post, even though you hate my guts. Do me a solid. If a like in a post is the most powerful things you can do for the algorithm, and lets the algorithm know you think this is important and that other people should watch it. So I appreciate that. You can follow me at Real Jason J. Daniel for more sports. And you can also, there it is, and then also you can follow the Jason J. Daniel Show on TikTok. That's my other account, which is a smaller account, but it's my account for my general show where all my show clips can go there. And there you go. So, and then also please follow me or sub on Facebook, X, everywhere, right? Everywhere, YouTube, Rumble, IG. If you're watching on YouTube or Rumble, please subscribe. Really appreciate it. This is my first night streaming on Twitch. So if you're watching on Twitch, I really appreciate it, man. I'm streaming in six places at the same time. It's crazy. Okay, there you go. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much. And my next show will be tomorrow. We'll be doing a breakdown. It will be live. I'll stream it again. It will be after the game, most likely right after. I'll try to jump on within that hour, depending on if I'm doing some other social, depending on how it goes. We'll do a quick breakdown of the game, and I'll take your comments too. Give me your comments, like and comment. If you comment on any of my stuff, I will share your comments next show. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it. You guys have an amazing one, and there you go. We'll see you on the flip side. Take care. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it.